All right, welcome into the next episode of New York versus MA Fantasy Pod. I got Dev with me. No Robbie today. We got Des here in the booth. How you guys doing?
Some would say getting Dez would be a major upgrade from Robbie.
Some would.
That's what some are just saying. I'm not saying it. Some are saying it though.
Both are big members of Team Spirit, so we support them both.
It's a huge downgrade too, to be fair. So we'll see how it goes.
The takes might be hotter though. The takes might be hotter. You guys, yeah. How you guys feeling about the upcoming Poconos Olympics? We got a week and a half till game time.
Oh yeah, I'm ready to 3-peat, baby. I'm feeling it. How about you boys?
Yeah. Listen, Team Gaines is, we're locked in right now. A lot of chaos from our camp. But I will say, I'm more focused. I'm really trying to get a live stream camera going in Dez's car. Just seeing Dez, David, and Owen Morse drive for over 4 hours together in a single car. It's probably the most entertaining thing you can ever think of.
Well, don't forget, and one of Tom or Frank.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, I doubt all that enter the car will be exiting the car also, so that's going to be very interesting road trip.
Just don't leave my partner at a rest stop.
I mean, I can't promise that, Devin. Me and Tom debated it last year. We ended up making, I think, the right decision, but
all I know is if Des needs to send someone to the ghost chat, he's allowed to. It's his car.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, so that'll be an eventful ride down. The other car will be me, Big O, Robbie, and then either Tom or Frank, which should also be a good time, but maybe not quite as chaotic as the other car. Although the other car is probably more likely to have a big dynasty trade happen, and that's kind of why we're here on the pod to talk about this dynasty draft right here.
Sure.
I could totally see Dez getting Kyle Pitts back in that car. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so since our last podcast, which we recorded quite literally up until the draft began, we had a whole rookie draft. This was like 2 months ago because we're crackheads and can't wait. Couple trades went down, couple big trades. Travis Kelce got moved, some picks got moved, potentially the 1.01 next year got moved, Kyle Pitts got moved, Travis Etienne. Stuff's been happening. Also, like 10 fab dollars got moved in a blockbuster to end the draft. We'll start by running through the draft. We will certainly address some of these big blockbuster trades, and then sprinkle some other stuff in as we go. Let's see. Pick 1.01. He was talking about Bijan Robinson for a long time. Good old bisexual Robin. David took Bijan Robinson 1.1. Never a doubt in his mind. May have been some doubts in our mind. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, Bijan it looks like, I could be wrong, but he was only one of 3 picks for David in this whole entire draft alongside
Correct.
Quentin Johnston and Sean Tucker. I really like Bijan. I will say I was a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. I thought he might have been bluffing the whole entire time and taking a quarterback, but you never know. He just has to hope he figures out the situation. He's got 3 different San Francisco quarterbacks on his roster to go with a hurt Kyler Murray, a Pittsburgh quarterback in Mitch Trubisky who's not playing, Jacoby Brissett, and whoever this fucking Max Duggan character
is. The TCU quarterback from their playoff run.
Yeah, but
he can't throw.
It's as safe as it gets. It's as safe as it gets, in my opinion.
Max Duggan is like Trace McSorley.
No. Was Heisman runner-up, I think? And also
he was up there, yeah. He was up there.
First place at getting second place.
Yeah, like Team Gaines will be in a week and a half.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Bijan's going to be a stud off the rip. We know this. He's a very talented running back. I agree with the principle of taking the best available player instead of drafting quote-unquote for need. However, in a super flex league, the value of quarterbacks is asinine, especially given how much we cling to quarterbacks. And if you look at, the 4th round here, how valuable we view quarterbacks, a bunch of dudes I've never heard of got drafted in the 4th round, such as, I'm going to go with Carson Tune. Clayton Tune.
Gunslinger out of Houston.
A little Case Keenum in him. No, but, I mean, Bijan's going to be fantastic. He complements theoretically DeAndre Swift nicely.
Yeah.
And the rest of David's unemployed running backs, such as James Robinson, Sean Tucker. I guess Sean Tucker signed a potential deal with Tampa, but he needed help everywhere the way his team was shaping up, and he gets an absolute stud. You can't fault him there.
Yeah, you gotta assume he's probably tanking this year, though, to an extent, right? I mean, what's he really competing for aside from another good draft pick next year?
He's competing for Trey Lance to be healthy and Kyler to be healthy. If they're healthy
Yeah.
at the end of the year, his team could actually be fairly competitive. He's got a bunch of receivers. He has a tight end now in Kyle Pitts. I mean, he's building the building blocks. Like, he's got Pitts now. He's got Bijan. That's an elite. He's got DK. That's an elite guy at each spot. He just needs Kyler back and healthy. He needs Lance to be on the field, but we'll see about that one.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of Bijan's kind of it's all in front of us. It's all anyone's been talking about for the entire draft process. What do you think about the Johnston pick there at 1.9?
I think especially now that we've waited a little bit, we usually do these rookie drafts really early. I think now that we've waited as long as we have to do this podcast, I think that's actually a bargain pick. I think if we redrafted this rookie draft all over again, I think he's probably going a few spots higher than he did previously.
Yeah, I think he's part of that post. The top 6, I think, are pretty firmly set where they are. After Gibbs, Smith-Njigba, the 3 quarterbacks, and Bijan. He could have gone anywhere after that. I do like it at 1.9. I think there's a bit of a drop-off with that Addison, Kincaid, Johnston, and then the rest of the draft there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I would have took Johnston before Kincaid. Robbie took Kincaid 1 pick before. I wasn't in love with Gibbs and his draft position in real life and in fantasy. I mean, I don't think his 5th year option will be picked up. I think Quentin Johnston's will. I feel like Quentin Johnston will have a legitimate second contract. I don't know if Gibbs will. So, I think
running backs are tough.
right. What's that? Yeah, running back out of Alabama, drafted by the Detroit Lions. So, Davey's got a good one at 1.9.
Yeah, especially if they don't bring back Williams or Keenan, then all of a sudden Johnston could definitely emerge. Apparently he's a chest catcher, which is a little concerning at that high of a marquee receiver, but he's elite after the ball, has good physicals. He kind of plays smaller than his size, but the potential's there. And we'll see what happens. And obviously,
he made some big play against Michigan in the Final Four. Just reminded me of Larry Fitzgerald. His whole style of play, I'm not saying he's the next Larry Fitzgerald, but he there was some flashes of that.
He's got a little bit of the Hopkins after the catch stuff, where he's just
just Cardinals receivers with dreads, pretty much.
And don't forget, he's got that new OC over there in LA, Pizza Boy Kellen Moore. So they're going to be moving at a fast pace, it looks like.
Yeah, watch out for the Statue of Liberty in the big bowl games.
Yeah, Kellen Moore's over there now.
All right, now Junior's really he's got to be the winner of the draft, right? Just kind of by default.
I mean, every single pick that I'm looking at is basically JR.
I don't know if you've counted them yet, but how many picks do you think he had? I know the 11, answer to this, but
11 out of the 48. That is nearly a quarter.
And it's not just it's like he had 11 late ones. He had 2 firsts, he had 4 seconds, 3 thirds, and 2 fourths. He was picking everywhere, and he got Richardson at 1.2, Smith-Njigba 1.6, and then he had a nice run of early thirds, taking Devin Achane, Kendre Miller. I keep wanting to call him Jeter Downs. It's Josh Downs, R.I.P. Jeter Downs in the Red Sox organization. Rashid Rice, and then he got a handful of guys later in the draft as well, who actually I like most of them too, including Anaconda and A.T. Perry. I really like.
Yeah.
That's don't sleep on him.
Exactly. Richardson at 1.2 is pretty spicy. It's an upside move for sure, but I think Stroud and Young are definitely safer, probably better actual quarterbacks, but Richardson has that tantalizing potential. What would you guys have done at 1.2, especially with his team?
It's risky, right? Because the only other starting quarterback going into that was Justin Fields, so he really needed to hit. And I think it was just sort of a shot in the dark. You knew it was going to be a quarterback going there. I thought it was going to be Bryce Young personally, but I like the move. I'm not upset with the move. A lot of upside, like you said.
Yeah, agreed. Honestly, one of Richardson's NFL comps is Justin Fields for the physical
Yeah.
profile, big arm, maybe inaccurate, maybe can't read a field, but is a freak athlete and can make absolute cannon of a throw at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably, at least his rookie, he's probably going to be only throwing for like $180, maybe two. But he's probably also going to be rushing for 80 to 100. So, I mean, this guy, he's going to get a lot of criticism. He's going to have to really, have to unleash his full potential. Otherwise, the naysayers will creep in. But, I mean, this kid is truly, the sky truly is the limit. I mean, especially fantasy-wise, I can't even imagine him in a goal line package. It's just giving me Cam Newton 2.0 vibes. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see for sure.
And don't forget too, their new head coach now is the OC that was over with Jalen Hurts in Philly the last 2 years. So you never know. He works a little bit of magic over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Des, who did you want to fall to you at 4? I'll jump ahead for a split second here.
Yeah, I wanted Richardson to follow me at 4. I mean, Young and Stroud, they have it all on the tape, and they're going to be good. But, I mean, I like to swing, and I like to swing hard, and I really like this guy's upside. And most of my fantasy success has been due to me, identifying which players have, like, the it factor, and this guy definitely has the it factor. So I was bummed he didn't even make it to 1.3. I didn't even get a legit chance to try and trade up, but but I'm happy with Stroud. We'll get to him.
We'll get to him. And then getting Smith and Jigba at 1.6, the way dynasty receivers have been these past few years, the kind of emerging as marquee assets. He's clearly the best receiver in the class, I think. You got to be happy getting him there with the pick that I guess he.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean he is. Like you said, our league is 3 wide receivers, and it's a quarterback-driven league in real life, and that means wide receiver values are going up too. And although he wasn't healthy, I think he had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl his last game. So, I mean, that speaks for itself. And he's in a good, steady system with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, and he's got DK and Lockett to have the veteran leadership and all that. So yeah, he's in a good place.
Yeah, Junior's his roster is pretty rough, but now with Richardson and Fields, he made some trades for some running backs. So now he's got Damian Harris, J.K. Dobbins, Pacheco at running back, plus some of those rookies, and a decent young receiver core with Ayuk, Pittman, Pickens, and Smith and Jigba. If any of those guys can break out, it's actually not a terrible young team given how kind of desolate it looked for a good chunk of the season.
Yeah. I mean, Junior has so much young talent and so many picks. I mean, he's gonna miss on some, but he's inevitably gonna hit on a lot of them too. So he's kind of reminded me of my turbo rebuild phase. So it's gonna be, he could have a very quick ascension.
He's a ways away still, but what do you got, Dev?
No, I was gonna say too, a sleeper pick for him. Listen, I might be a little biased, but if Luke Schumacher can stay healthy. I know he's dealing with a foot injury right now, but you got to remember Dalton Schultz is gone now. He's only competing with a second-year player in Jake Ferguson. He got Schumacher late in the 3rd round, so he might have just gotten a starting tight end from one of the pass-heavy offenses in the NFL. I think his team's really young. He's not going to compete this year, possibly not compete next year, but he's really, really young, and he's got a lot of pieces that are going to be in the NFL for a long time.
Yeah, that's a tight end, too. You could see him flip, or he does have Hawkinson, too, who he traded Cole Kmet for. A guy like that breaks out kind of similar to Freiermuth this past season. That kind of answers my next question. But Des, you see anyone out of these kind of second round and beyond rookies that he snagged that stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, the first one, Devin A-Chain, stands out a lot to me. I think I touched on this in our last pod, but this is just kind of one of those. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't ultimately pan out, but at the time when he got picked out of LSU in Kansas City, you're like, oh wow, like that's gonna be a fit. again, the success wasn't there, but I think Devin A-Chain will be a different story. He's a super fast in a super fast offense, in a offensive guru's offense, and it's just going to be. I mean, I didn't really know of him coming in. I don't think a lot of people do, but I think a lot of people are going to know of him sooner than later. So, yeah.
All right, let's move on to the voodoo god himself, Josh Gordon fan, Tom O'Hara, who Tom made the first trade of the draft. He made a nice little deal with Papa, trading back from 3 to 5 and picking up. I had this in front of me.
He picked Gibbs.
Well, yeah, he picked Gibbs, but he picked up a 2024 Devon second and 2.05 from Papa to move back from 3 to 5. And sources on a subway at one point told me that he was going to take Gibbs at 1.3 anyway, so he was very happy with that deal.
Yeah, I think Tom made out like a bandit. It was pretty clear that he was going to take him at 1.3. He needed a running back, or he definitely didn't need a quarterback, really. So, and yeah, so to get him 2 picks later and get all that, all those other assets, that was a great pick for Tom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was a little. I knew he was going to make a trade. I knew there was multiple people trying to trade with him. I knew my dad was one. Obviously, he landed the trade. I figured that Ray was going to be another one. I forget who else was involved in trade talks. I might have even been involved in trade talks at one point in time. But if you look at the season that someone like Deshaun Watson just had last season, I know he was coming off of his whole entire scandal and he didn't really get a full off season. But if Watson can't be a serviceable quarterback too, his championship chances are pretty much gone. So, in hindsight, I wonder if he's going to regret that move of not taking Bryce Young or CJ Stroud right there. But, he made out like a bandit in that trade, and I think he made the most of it.
Yeah, his running back room is looking pretty mediocre at this point. Given just we don't know what we're gonna get out of James Conner, AJ Dillon, Elijah Mitchell, Jalen Warren, who we made an early move for, and Gibbs. That's it. That's a bunch of people in kind of unsure running back rooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, picked up Gibbs, who I think Gibbs will be good. Gibbs, I like the draft capital there. The way we got some PPR in there for him. I think the half PPR that'll add up. Sounds like you're going to use him. You don't spend a pick that early, not use the guy, but it'll be interesting there. Let's I guess I'm gonna jump past you, Des, since we just did the flip flop trade. Unless you guys have anything to comment on the rest of Tom's draft, picking up Marvin Mims at the 2.5, Sam Laporta, and then taking some QB dart throws the rest of the draft.
Yeah, the Mims pick is sort of interesting, I guess. You gotta see if Russell Wilson can still cook after the year that he just had, but you're also getting Judy and Cortland Sutton. You're getting Tim Patrick back after his injury last season, so he's gonna have to fight for some reps. But still, he was a second round pick, so you gotta assume they have some sort of high hopes for him.
Yeah, I saw a stat that like the last 3 or 4 receivers that Sean Payton picked, in the first couple rounds was like Marquez Colston, Michael Thomas, and Robert Meacham or something. Which, hey, if Marvin Mims can follow in those shoes and kind of had similar profiles to all of them, could be interesting. But let's jump ahead now to Papa here. Just gonna skip Des for a split second. We'll leave him waiting in anticipation, just because Papa's the one who actually traded up and took Bryce Young. Well, he traded up, took Bryce Young, and he gets his quarterback. He guarantees himself one of the quarterbacks, and he only had to give up, I guess, the Marvin Mims pick and probably a late second next year. Kind of good business for both teams.
Yeah, definitely good business. I know before it came out that Levis liked mayonnaise with his coffee, he might have actually considered Levis at some point in the distant past as a first round talent, but I think he knew once he was outside the top 4 that he had to find his way in there, because you got to assume that Bijan and the 3 quarterbacks all go 1 through 4. So he really had no option but to sell the bag on trading in to get a future quarterback.
Yeah, this was like you said, this was a win-win for both teams. It was pretty obvious I was going to take a quarterback, and he knew he couldn't trade with me, so he had to leapfrog me, and it was either Young or Stroud, and I think he honestly took probably the right guy. I mean, Young's in a better situation, and he had a slightly better college career than CJ Stroud. So yeah, Papa did good there.
Yeah, I wholly agree. He also snagged Jonathan Mingo at 1.11, who I honestly don't know anything about, and that seemed like a bit of a reach to me, but it's definitely a hype train dart throw.
Yeah, his wide receiver room right now is looking just a little bit bleak. Like, he's got a lot of young names. I mean, you got to assume his starting three is what? Hollywood Brown, Drake London, and either Dotson or Watson.
Juju?
No, come on. We're not starting Juju for a serious chance to win.
He's not. I mean, Juju's going to outscore Jahan Dotson next year.
Unless we're getting points for TikTok dances.
Juju will outscore Jahan Dotson next year.
You think so?
I don't think either of them are going to score a ton of points.
No,
I mean,
I don't
Dotson
think so.
is, what is he, the second receiver on a
In
Taylor
Washington.
Heineke team, a Sam Howell team?
Yeah.
With a good defense?
Yeah.
I think Dotson's a phenomenal receiver. I don't know if he's going to score that many points.
Yeah, I'm glad I sold on Dotson high when I did.
He's a guy I would love to see. Imagine if you were swapped him and like Quentin Johnston, how hyped we'd all be for Dotson.
Yeah.
But he's in Washington, and that sucks.
Yeah, I'm looking at his other picks right now. Yeah, the Mingo pick. Once again, that Cowboys pick of Deuce Vaughn is sort of interesting. I like his story. I don't know if he'll, especially if Zeke gets brought back on a team-friendly deal, I don't know if he's going to get really any reps whatsoever with Pollard there. But you never know. Pollard came off of an injury last season, so you can sort of stick anyone in the Cowboys backfield and they'll be successful.
Yeah, that's also the type of spot where just all of a sudden they have Latavius Murray and he plays 2 weeks and is fantasy relevant.
Right.
It's a pretty sparse draft, actually, for Papa, which is surprising given how irrelevant his team was most of the year. But I guess that happens. You trade up and you make some moves. But
yeah, I mean, I loved his whole entire draft. I think he went 4 for 4, in my opinion. I mean, not a lot of people are familiar with Mingo, but he did go early second for a reason. He's paired up with Bryce Young. He's from Ole Miss. Ole Miss has a good record, a good track record with wide receivers and tight ends and all-around pass catchers. Deuce Vaughn he'll have a role, I think, immediately. It won't be a big one, obviously, if Pollard's healthy, but he'll have a role line up for him. And Clayton Tune, I think, I mean, obviously, Kyler's injured and Colt McCoy's not getting any younger, so, I mean, you never know. He might get he could start for the Cardinals and start for him for a couple games.
Yeah,
so,
once you're into rounds 3 and 4, it's start throw season. And those are
Mingo
some decent
could very well be that wide receiver 1-2 for Carolina, right? Because they really only have. I think they just signed Adam Thielen, who can't stay healthy, and then
slot guy
DJ Chark, right, is on that team too.
Maybe,
so.
Yeah, I think they got Chark, and also
and then Marshall from before.
Laviska Shenault's there, but point being, it's a wide open receiver room.
Exactly.
Des, you hit the nail on the head too. I do like the concept of stacking Young and Mingo as well. Stack the rookies. They go through rookie initiation together. They come up together. That's usually where you'll see a bond form. It's entirely possible that Mingo and Young attach themselves to one another, and that could be a profitable stack moving forward. The Burrow Chase stack that David had the chance to draft, and a lot of us had the chance to draft in the startup draft and didn't.
Oh yeah.
All right, Des, it's your time to shine, buddy. Did you give any thought to someone not named CJ Stroud?
No. I mean, David, the second I was on the clock, David said pick, so I mean, I obviously intentionally went because I had to, do that to David. But no, I mean, it was clearly Will Levis initially was in that tier 1 of quarterbacks, but he separated himself. This was a no-brainer. This was you hand the pick in immediately type pick, CJ Stroud. It was interesting. It would be interesting to see if he didn't go second overall to Houston, what I'd do, because for a while there was, I don't know, he did bad on the test. He got like the lowest score ever, and there was all that. So he's going like 7 or like 10, 11 in mocks. So that would be interesting. But I think he's the real deal, and I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer pick for you, given your quarterback room of Tua and Ritter and nobody else. And no, Bailey Zappi's not good, guys. I don't want to hear it.
He's not good.
You needed him. That was a no-brainer. The rest of your team's actually looking pretty sporty since you moved Pitts for some young talent and kind of filled out the rest of the roster, especially if healthy.
Yeah, really like my team. It's the most balanced it's ever been, and I feel like I'm a legit contender this year. So we'll see.
A legit contender. I mean, I'll go ahead and say I don't think you make playoffs, but you will be. You will be competitive for the first time in 2 years, and I look forward to that.
I really liked Dez's Zay Flowers pick later in that round. To be honest with you, he once again, it's sort of similar to Carolina, right? Where Rashad Bateman, like, he's good, but he couldn't stay healthy last season. They bring in Odell, who can't stay healthy, and all of a sudden it's a wide receiver frenzy. Zay Flowers has the opportunity to have an immediate role with Lamar Jackson signing that long-term deal.
Yeah, I agree, and he's the type of guy who could really benefit from Lamar's ability to keep plays alive in the pocket with his sort of athletic profile.
Yeah. I just want Dez to trade me Tony Pollard. That's all I want.
Dez has been wheeling and dealing all off season.
I mean, Devin, my DMs are always open.
I feel like I'm getting touched already.
I think now's a good time to talk about two blockbusters Dez made this offseason. We'll start with the Dobbins deal, which is kind of step one, where he moved Dobbins and Edwards and a third-round pick to pick up a Rays first-rounder next year, a fourth next year, and draft a Anaconda to kind of handcuff Breece Hall. What was the thought process there, Dez?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I drafted Gus Edwards on like a Tuesday, and then like Thursday he tore his ACL, and that really set the tone for my whole dynasty.
Same with Dobbins.
So far, yeah, that was rough. So he's kind of one of those guys, like, all right, maybe you need a change of scenery, Gus. Dobbins.
Well, both of them tore their whatever.
Both of them. That's actually right. They tore it like, yeah, that was rough. So I was like, all right, guys, we need to change of scenery, whatever. And I was pretty set at running back, so I was like, yeah, I'll take a first. Like, I could use that on anything. So, yeah, that was pretty much the thought process. And then I got a Anaconda because I had Breece Hall, so that was like a little handcuff. And I had Michael Kart, so I'm all secure there. And, yeah.
So it's basically you just don't believe in Dobbins' ability to stay healthy. Is that the gist of it there?
Yeah, no, I mean, he doesn't. Like, I've seen it firsthand, and he doesn't. So, yeah.
Any thoughts on that one, Dev, or should we get to the juicy one?
Yeah, I mean, I think in hindsight, Dez is going to realize it's sort of a fair trade. I mean, would I rather have Ray's first-round pick or Dobbins/Edwards? I'd probably rather have Dobbins and Edwards just because I probably value that at around like a mid to like a 6 to 10 pick in the first round versus what Ray's pick's going to be, which could be anywhere from 8 to 12 depending on whether his guys can stay healthy. So, but it'll be close. I don't think it was lopsided either way.
Do you think that trade actually created the hole that then facilitated the Pitts trade? Des, did you have that trade in mind when you traded Dobbins, or was it two separate events that then kind of merged into one?
No, yeah. So I thought I was going to take Kyle Pitts to the grave with me, to be honest. But I mean, it was just he wanted him he wanted him too badly. He wanted him too much. He just randomly said, "Des, what's it going to cost for Pitts?" I'm like, ETN and Freiermuth, like kind of like jokingly, and he's like, "All right, deal." And that was pretty much the groundwork of the whole thing. Kyle Pitts, he did good. He had a very good rookie year. Second year, nobody knows what happened. That was pretty traumatic, honestly, and I didn't really want to go through that. He's a very sexy player as a player. Tons of upside, all the upside in the world. But I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta produce, and it's what you do on the field. And he is a tight end. Tight ends, unless you name Travis Kelce, don't score that many points really. And Freiermuth was like tight end 8 last year. So, and Travis Etienne's a great young stud running back, and never hurts to have a little young depth in dynasty. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll go to you now, Dev, on this trade. Just what are your thoughts?
So what was the actual deal?
The trade was Dez sent Pitts to David and he got back Travis Etienne, Pat Fryermuth, and David's third rounder next year.
I like that trade for Dez. I think Pitts, like you said, is a really attractive name for dynasty football. But if you're getting Fryermuth, who can arguably be, on the next tier below, and then you're getting Etienne, who sort of balanced it out as well, I think Etienne's a great name to have going into the season, especially if you're an owner like Dez, who just really needs young talent to help him develop into eventually, hopefully, a championship caliber team.
I don't disagree with any of that analysis as to why it's a good fit for Dez's team. I personally don't love it. I don't like trading the best player, like a marquee guy like that, and not getting like just a blow you away package. And Muth, I think, is going to regress a little bit. They drafted another big body tight end who might become something, might not. I don't necessarily think Fryermuth is going to be this, big dominant staple. He'll be maybe tight end 8 at best each year, which that's something that has value, but I don't see him being anything special, not even like a TJ Hawkinson necessarily. And Etienne, I don't trust to stay healthy. I really don't. So it's not one I love, but also, obviously, if Fryermuth can be 80% of Kyle Pitts and Etienne is an RB2, then it's a great trade for Dez. So
it does. If it helps, Fryermuth had 8 games last year where he had 10 or more fantasy points. Kyle Pitts had 3. So
I get
you're winning the race right now. It's a long race, but you're winning the race right now.
Yeah, that's all that matters is right now, not the future.
That's the other thing is I think Kyle Pitts is still in his prime by the time Etienne retires.
Jeez. What?
We'll see.
We will see. On to we got a nice controversial league member up next, Dat O though, who has made his share of trades this dynasty, but pretty quiet offseason for O, not having really any picks.
Yeah, he picked up 112. Where's his picks?
Picked up 112 and 3.6. Where are his picks? He traded them as part of his many trades with Ray that acquired him Baker Mayfield, Gabe Davis, the expense of Rodgers and Devonta Smith, among others. And then he also, there was one other trade in there too that I can't think of right now. But he made a few moves to try to make a playoff push. He ended up being the lone man out. He did of random flyer note, he traded pick 4.6 to pick up Jordan Mason on San Francisco. I'm trying to find the 112 pick, but go ahead.
Yeah, the pick itself, the Charbonnet pick, is just a little confusing. I guess it's best player available, but did he really need a running back, in my opinion? Like, he already had C-Mac, he already had Aaron Jones, Montgomery got moved, he had Damian Pierce. I don't really understand that.
Yeah, I don't know why you took the Char boy. That was a stupid pick. Kenneth Walker just got to Seattle. He's not going anywhere. Will Levis is still on the board. I would take even A-Chain over Charbonnet. Like you said, Devin, he's loaded at running back. Didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The Jalen Hyatt pick I did like, though, at 3.6. I think that's good value. I think
Hyatt gets PT, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hyatt's not a one-trick pony, but, he doesn't have a ton of tools in his bag, but I think he'll have a role in the NFL and in the offense, and I think he'll do just fine.
So yeah, just to note with Owen's team, his running backs are Cordero Patterson, Christian McCaffrey, Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, Damian Pierce, Isaiah Spiller, Beatty's irrelevant, Mason, and Zach Charbonnet. His running back depth is absurd, so I get taking Charbonnet. I think in a vacuum, Charbonnet at 112 is good value. I think he's a good running back. I think the Seahawks want to use him a la Chris Carson, the way they used Carson with Rashad Penny. I'm a little skittish on Kenneth Walker, even though he looked great. This tells me that one of Owen's running backs is getting moved in the season, whether that's Montgomery or Jones or Williams or Pierce or whoever it may be. He's going to have to make a move for probably a quarterback, maybe a tight end.
Jimmy, do you know off the top of your head, unrelated but also related, the trade that Frank did for that 2-1 pick when he was fishing things out?
That was actually a trade with Dez. That was the DeAndre Hopkins trade. That was pick 2.1 and Dez's third for Hopkins and pick 2.9, which I think is pretty good business by Dez.
I'm just curious on. Wait, did Owen trade for this pick at 112 or no?
Owen got that 112 pick somewhere earlier in his happenings.
Because I was gonna say if that was Owen's pick from the get-go, I'm confused why he didn't try to ship that out. I would much rather have a veteran piece, especially a wide receiver, to have behind his current guys. I just wonder what he could have gotten in the market.
No, I wholly agree. I think his receiver depth is actually pretty good as well. His team depth is crazy.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah.
Thielen, Parker, Diggs, Boyd, Mike Williams, Curtis Samuels, Peoples-Jones, Gabe Davis, Rondale Moore. Yeah. He had that pick going into the draft, so I honestly, I think what he was trying to do was to get Kincaid. And it just never materialized, and then all of a sudden he was just kind of up and took Charbonnet. I agree. He should have tried to move that pick, maybe package it with a running back and a receiver for a bigger name player, or even a Hopkins or something. Mm-hmm. I fully agree, and I think that's something he still can do, and I think Charbonnet will have value come season. I think you're spot on there, though. And he's a team that I don't know if he has his first-round pick next year either. Let me look. But one of these teams, so I think so Des, you said you're a competing team now, right?
Yes.
If you're a competing team now, Owen's a competing team, Ray's a competing team, Frank's a competing team, Devin's a competing team, I'm a competing team, Robbie's a competing team, right? That's 7 teams right there. So that's non-competing teams are Willie, Papa, Junior, David, and honestly, Tom could be competitive as well if Watson's playing. That is 7 or 8 competing teams. You know what that means?
Yeah, the 6th spot's going to be a battle to get into.
That's exactly what that means. To answer the question, Owen does not have his pick next year. He does not have his 2024 first or his 2025 first.
Yeah. Wow. Damian Pierce or someone along those lines.
Yeah, Pierce was definitely pretty much a straight up for a first round pick trade, which I honestly good value on a first rounder.
I agree.
Good value on a future first rounder. 4 years from now might look a little rough when that first rounder turns into something and Pierce is, a 27-year-old running back. But that was decent business, I think. He needs to take some of his talent, his depth, and kind of merge it into some higher end talent. But yeah, Des, which 2 teams aren't making playoffs out of the 8? Out of Tom, Owen, Ray, Frank, Devin, me, Robbie. You.
Doubt Tom will. Personally, I don't really believe in Watson that much. Honestly, I think Justin Herbert's a tad overrated. I think if
we're gonna brush past that.
What?
We're gonna brush past that. Keep going.
I think Trevor Lawrence blew a 27-point lead in the playoff. The other way, I think you wouldn't hear the end of it. I think Herbert gets a lot of slack. I don't know. He hasn't won anything yet. He hasn't won even an MVP or been that close or a playoff game. So
Des, this is not first take though. I care about how he's going to do in the fantasy regular season.
You tell him, Des. You tell him.
I know, but I'm saying, yeah, I don't think Herbert's going to put Tom's team on his back and carry him to the playoffs. I think he'll be good, but I do not think Tom's team will be making the playoffs. And then let's see.
Allen, right?
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson are his quarterbacks. No backup option.
Baker's a starter in Tampa.
Oh, great! I'd rather start a fucking tight end.
Well, Colt McCoy also might be starting, but
oh my goodness.
I don't trust that man. It's not 2006.
Yeah, Des, it's not looking good for you right now.
Yeah, Des. Who else is missing? Say you're saying Tom and Owen are missing?
I think, yeah, Owen, yeah, he missed last year. He didn't really get any better. He actually got worse. So, I think I'm going to swoop in and take the last spot.
These are fighting words, and I can't wait for y'all to meet on next weekend.
Yeah.
All right. This brings us to the back end of the draft, where Ray basically just traded back.
Yeah, I see 2 4th-round picks that he made. I don't see anything else. Am I missing something?
Tyjae Spears, 2.6.
2.6.
which was part of the greater Mayfield,
Yep,
Rodgers,
right.
whatever deal. The big thing Ray did is he traded 1.7. He traded his next year first, and he got Willie's next year first. Unprotected, no restrictions. Willie's team looks horrible. I love you, Willie, but your team is absolute dog shit. Ray got a golden ticket for next year, and his rest of his team is also loaded and championship ready. So watch out.
Yeah, and I also tried having a conversation with Willie when he was trying to do this Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith nonsense, and I don't really think he understood the concept of Ray's future first is not equal to his future first. I think he thought I don't know what he was thinking. I don't think he was thinking, to be honest with you.
He probably was not.
I mean, in Dynasty, you want to have the best young, talented offensive players, and the definition of the best young, talented offensive player is the Offensive Rookie of the Year, which Garrett Wilson won, and Willie traded him away. So, yeah, I mean, this one was definitely concerning.
For those listening at home, the full trade, Willie got Devonta Smith, pick 1.07, Jordan Addison, and a 2025 first rounder from Ray. Not a next year first, a 2025 first from Ray. Ray got...
Am I making it?
What's that? Ray got Garrett Wilson. So Smith to Wilson, that's like a relatively equal tier receiver trade. Am I crazy?
No.
Well, I was just going to say, am I making a hot take by saying I'd rather have Garrett Wilson than Devontae Smith?
They're in the same tier. I agree. I'd rather have Smith. I don't think one's that much better than the other. I think the Garrett Wilson hype train's a little out of control, but yeah, they're in the same tier. They're young, emerging receivers that kind of broke out a little bit last year. So then Willie got Devonta Smith, 1.7, Jordan Addison, 2025 first. Ray got Garrett Wilson, pick 4.08, Charlie Jones on the Bengals, and Willie's first rounder next year, which is basically a golden ticket. As far as I'm concerned, you can cancel out Smith and Wilson. I mean, probably a slight edge to Smith. Ray traded 1.07 in a 6-person draft and a 2025 probably late first for probably a 1.03 at worst pick.
Now, Ray's big Achilles heel right here is Dalvin Cook not being signed anywhere right now. I mean, he's got Madison, he's got Jonathan Taylor, but he really doesn't have that third running back to lean on.
Definitely a problem.
Cook signs.
Yeah, agreed. He does have Javonte Williams coming back. If Taylor and Williams, if Williams can be healthy and put in some work, he will be all right. But yeah, he does need to acquire a depth running back. I would look for Ray to go back to the Big O and maybe chase some depth.
And Ray was really close last year. Like, he had a very, very good team, and I think he's getting a little bit of that junior syndrome where if you don't win it that first year, then you're just ready to make trades all over the place. And I think he just has to go right back to the same well. I think he's just got to put the same group that he had last year going, and I think he's right there in the semifinals.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at sticking with Willie here. Willie made a nice little trade with you. Willie only made 3 picks in this draft. Addison at 1.7, Bigsby at 2.7, and a 4th rounder, some backup tight end on Jacksonville. 2.7, though, was a point of league contention. Willie traded you for Travis Kelce. He traded you Travis Kelce. He traded you a 2025 third-round pick, and he threw in 11 fab for shits and giggles.
I gave him the conditional pick, and what else?
Yeah, so you gave... We'll touch on the conditional in a second. You gave him Khalil Herbert, pick 2.07, who we all thought was Michael Meyer, tight end on the Ravens, who was kind of a marquee tight end prospect in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And then Willie goes and takes Tank Bigsby, and then you traded him a 2nd rounder with the condition that it might become a 1st rounder.
Right, and all Kelce has to do is not retire and then get over 1,000 receiving, which he's done for the vast majority of his career. So it's pretty much a first. It's just a contingency saying if he doesn't retire at the end of this next season, then you get the first, but if he retires, then it's still the 2nd.
But let's be real, a U first is practically an early 2nd in any fantasy league.
Yeah, yes.
So,
but here's the picture that I'll paint for Willie is your quarterbacks are Pickett and Howell, let's say, or Pickett and Garoppolo going into week 1. Your running backs are Derrick Henry and Herbert, most likely. Your receivers are Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith, and let's call it Romeo Doubs. And then your tight end is either Irv Smith or Zach Ertz. Do you sell Derrick Henry at this point?
Yes.
Like when I said full on sell mode for him.
It has been sell mode for the past 12 months.
I know, but he did this last time. He sold Dalvin Cook, and then he bought Derrick Henry, and now he's selling Travis Kelce, and he's out buying Devontae Smith.
Willie might as well be some combination of Pepe the Frog and who knows what else. Willie's on the buy high, sell low train, and it is not working thus far.
Yeah, and I had the pick right after Willie. Let it be known that I told him when we made the trade, I had this pick back-to-back picks. I had 2-6 and 2-7, I believe. And I said, I'll give you 2-6. You should take Michael Mayer right here. And he still decided to take Tank Bigsby after never hearing of Tank Bigsby before I first mentioned him in the conversation.
But he has a cool name.
He does have a cool name.
Like, Willie's thought process was a running back with the first name Tank and the last name has Big in it. So he's like, I got to pick.
Yeah, it's basically Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he's basically Derrick Henry.
That's one way to say that Willie races as Bowser in Mario Kart.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Willie's team is not even at a crossroads. Willie's team is in the most dire of straits. He is dangling by a thread off of, a freaking Grand Canyon. It's time to send Derrick Henry out, get something in return.
Yeah, if this was the Premier League, Willie would be relegated and he would never come back because I don't know.
Des, you would have been relegated.
I would have. Back is the difference. Billy, pretty much Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison, 2 generational prospects, and like for not a whole lot. And now he probably has to sell Devontae Smith and Derrick Henry, and so it's going to be a very long and tedious process for. He probably will quit within like 3 years, to be honest.
No, he's not allowed to quit.
He's not allowed to quit. You're right, but he's going to.
It's a lifetime contract.
Yeah, it's a
blood oath. It is a blood oath. All right, let's run through the last few picks here, and then we'll kind of wrap this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Frankie D13 did not really pick much. He did make that trade. He basically traded Hopkins for 2.1, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Was it 2.1 and 2.9 for Hopkins, and like a fourth or third or something?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds right.
And took Will Levis, which honestly not a terrible dart throw, early second for a guy whose only other quarterback is Pat Mahomes, who is just locked in.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect there to be so much mayhem over trying to trade for Will Levis. I was very heavy in trade discussions. I feel like I was one of the finalists for this trade, but because I just wanted an extra quarterback, but I got sort of sniped here by Frankie.
Is this true, Des?
This is very true. Devin was, if I was on The Bachelor and I had 2 roses, Devin would have, no doubt. But yeah, I think 7 of the 11 people in the league messaged me about this pick. It was insane. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I mean, you see DeAndre Hopkins for a dude that hasn't played it down in the NFL. You kind of gonna take that 9 times out of 10. So yeah.
Also of note is Frank's running backs are kind of dire. Rashad Penny, Ronald Jones, Antonio Gibson, Dez's favorite running back ever, Trey Sermon. Ramondre Stevenson, James Cook, Kenneth Walker. Those are 3 guys who had pretty good years last year, but also are now mostly in timeshares. Like, Stevenson isn't, but it's the Patriots, so who the hell knows?
Yeah, what's really sad with Frank's team, though, is I get you have Levis now, but he will never, ever, ever compete for a title without having a second quarterback.
Yeah.
And Robbie has 5 starting quarterbacks on his team, and Frank has 1. And he has arguably the best with Pat Mahomes, but he has nobody behind him. So therefore, without a second quarterback, he physically cannot win the league.
And he got a lucky second year at Brady too.
Right.
Yeah, he needs to figure out a way to make that deal. I wouldn't be shocked to see him move a James Cook potentially to Owen for a quarterback maybe, or try to move like Brian Robinson and Gibson plus a receiver, a Jacoby Myers, even a Waddle. I mean, he has a great receiving trio too of Waddle, Evans, and Devontae Adams. So could move one of them for quarterback, I would think, pretty easily, even if it's not the most elite of quarterbacks. All right, Dev, you're up here, bud.
It's on me.
You also
I only had 3 picks.
you had 4 picks, but you traded one for Travis Kelce, and you got Kelce going into the draft with no first rounder. So hell of a job, bravo.
Yep. Got Kelce, took Michael Mayer behind him,
pick.
And then I have Goddard on the team as well. So my tight ends are pretty much set.
Yeah, let's talk Jaden Reed. He was kind of a big right after the draft hype guy who got was picked a lot earlier than he was mocked going, and seems to be a little bit of a fantasy darling.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think Romeo Dobbs is going to end up being that number 1 guy, even with Watson there, and then I think Reed's going to end up pushing for that wide receiver 2 role, hopefully, with Jordan Love. I don't think Love's going to be a stud quarterback by any means, but anytime I can have a promising prospect in the early stages of the 3rd round, I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you got Travis Kelce, your team going in. You're rocking Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, awesome duo. Running backs, you do need Zeke to find a nice home, but you still have Eckler, Miles Sanders, and at receiver, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, Chris Godwin, Sutton, Judy, and then Kelce. I mean, your team is good. Your team is deep. You're only
per usual. I just need a
depth.
3rd quarterback, and I need another running back.
You need a running back to sign somewhere, yeah. Exactly. Des, what do you think of the Kelce trade compared to some of your other trades that you had made, like in terms of value for Kelce compared to a J.K. Dobbins? It was kind of comparable value.
Yeah, can you remind me what the Kelce trade was again?
Devin traded 2.7 Khalil Herbert and a 2024 second that might become a first rounder for Kelce and a 3rd rounder in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, getting Travis Kelce and you might give up a first, but as of now, not give up a first. I mean, that's very good value for you, Devin. That's if anyone but Willie had Kelce, you probably would have had to give up like 2 firsts. So
the man is 34 years old.
This is the truth. I'm with Des on this.
He's gonna win. Kelce wins leagues. So.
And see, that's the key to the whole entire thing. I knew other teams were getting better. I knew Robert was getting better. Ray was getting better. I had to make some sort of sacrifice with future draft picks to sort of put myself in a win now. And Kelce was the best opening. And then that also was this revolving door to allowing me to trade Dalton Schultz to my dad as well for a pick.
Good work, Dev. You got to be happy with your draft. A+. Yeah. All right, moving to moi. Not a whole lot going on since Des had my first round pick. Pretty happy my first round pick ended up being, a later one. I came into the draft with 3 picks. Actually made all 3 of my picks. The 2.12 from Robbie was part of the Jared Goff deal where I got a 2, a 3, and a 2. I didn't know what to expect at 2.12. It was so late in the draft that could have been anyone. Like, it's just kind of a dart throw. Fairly happy getting Roschon Johnson, who I think at least has a chance to snag a good share of a team that wants to run the ball with just Herbert and Donta Foreman there.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially with Montgomery now, and you have to assume Herbert's going to be the guy, which is why it was an attractive piece for Willie in the first place. But Johnson, I mean, you never know. It could be a committee down there, and Johnson could take advantage.
Yeah, again, it's a running back dart throw for, quite frankly, my team needs running back help, given that my best running back might be Jerick McKinnon. If Fournette's unemployed, Mixon finds a way to get suspended for shooting a child, and Kamara gets suspended for punting a person in an elevator. So, actually, I do think Samaj P. run on Denver might get some work. Like, this is my state of rationalization. Obviously, I'm set at receiver for at least another year. Hill, Cup, Chase, tight end. I got Waller, but yeah, it's a little dire running back.
Let me ask you just an honest question here. Yeah. I'm just saying what some people are saying, and I wouldn't say that your championship window might be closing, but I'm hearing that's what others are saying. What are you? What's your response to that? Stafford's getting up there. Your running backs are getting into trouble. Wide receivers, Cooper Kupp's getting up there. Well, some people are saying it. I'm not, but some people are.
Sources, you are the Chris Broussard of this league. Quite frankly, there hasn't been a playoffs yet where I've had healthy quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I started Tyler Huntley and Andy Dalton in the finals this year.
I started Mac Jones.
He's at least a starter usually. Yeah, no, the running back situation is dire. I honestly wanted to move off of one of them last year, and just nobody wanted to buy, which this is why. But Fournette has tanked in value. Kamara no longer has much value. Mixon is like on the cusp. Hey, if someone wants to go trade for Derrick Henry and Willie's being difficult, come talk to me. Come get Kamara. Come get Fournette for way less there. But it's time to move one of them. I need some youth. I gotta hope Johnson can emerge. I did really like Puka Nacua at 4.2 for the Rams receiver to build on my Rams receiver room. I think he's a guy who might get a role early, but it's a 4th round dart throw at the end of the day.
Yeah, Jimmy, I really like your draft. At 2-9, I was debating. I was in between either Keyshawn Boutte or Roschon Johnson. Roschon Johnson backed up Bijan Robinson in Texas, so I mean, he's kind of one of those guys that might have put up better numbers in the NFL than he did in college. And Darnell Big O, his nickname's actually Big O, which is funny. Washington. I think he's gonna be mostly used as a blocker, but he's gonna have some weird like 4-catch, 35 yards, like 3 touchdown games. Like he's just a freak. Just lob it up there, and he's gonna catch it. He's a big boy.
Yeah, that's about how I expect Owen to be used in this pickup football game on Saturday. Yeah, not a whole lot to talk about with my draft, and then we're left with Robbie, who got Dalton Kincaid at 1.8. I think that's a great get for him.
He's great
coming off a title. His team's pretty solid. You mentioned his QB depth. He has Burrow and Lawrence locked and loaded. Nevermind has Goff, Locke, Jones as depth behind him. He's got Saquon. He's got Josh Jacobs. He's got going down the list. Rashad White could emerge. And at receiver, he gets Calvin Ridley back. That's his big offseason. That's Calvin Ridley to pair with McLaurin, Higgins, Amon-Ra. His team just has a bunch of good players. And adding Kincaid to kind of go to tight end U behind George Kittle. He's the new tight end U, not Willie rocking, no tight ends. Willie's team started as tight end U, and his best tight end I know now is Zach Ertz. I think it's a great pick by Robbie. Basically adds a long-term value guy. And his team is built for now and built for the future. He's in a great spot, and I think he's got to be one of the favorites going into the upcoming season.
Robbie seems really, really good. I think he's the favorite coming in. I think people put me, him, and Ray and Jimmy maybe all in this sort of same tier, but Robbie's team's interesting because he sort of ran into this each of the last 2 years where he's in a position where his running backs can't, like Saquon has to play every single game because you can't rely on Jacobs and Rashad White to carry you to a championship.
Yep.
And then you can't really rely on Calvin Ridley to come back and be a top-tier receiver for you. I know he had a good year over in Atlanta when he was playing, but really you can't rely on that for a championship run. So his team's really, really good, but you can't afford any slip-ups. And in fantasy football, you got to have your fingers crossed.
Agreed. Speaking of can't rely on, is it possible Kadarius Toney finishes as a top 20 receiver?
Yeah, I don't know. He's too busy beefing with teenage girls on Twitter.
Teenage girls or rappers and or both?
Yeah.
That's fair, but I don't know. We'll see. I think honestly, I don't think my team's in that tier anymore. The way my running backs have dropped off, I think I'm in kind of that second tier. I think it's you, Ray, Robbie in the top tier right now. I think honestly, I'd like Owen's team better than my team for this upcoming season.
Wow, that's a hot take. Wow.
Dennis,
you should have said Jimmy's not going to make playoffs.
I should have. I mean, David put me and him in the same tier 2, 4, and 5. So, I mean, I finally pretty much surpassed Jimmy. It took a lot quicker than I thought.
Des, we'll talk when you're above me in the standings. We'll talk. It'll happen eventually, one day. You keep winning. You keep winning beer Olympics, and we'll be happy. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I think that pretty much sums up our draft. Do you want to name one big winner of the draft? I think it's
one big winner of the draft. I mean, I think Junior is my winner of the draft. Personally, I mean, he has 11 picks in the draft. If you get a third of those players to be hits, that's at least 3 to 4 players that are hits for him. I mean, that's what more can you ask for?
I can't disagree there. Des, what do you think?
I can't disagree either. I mean, he set himself up very well, and I think honestly, like you said, like maybe a third of them, but I think over half of them could. I think he got some legitimate prospects, and he's gonna have some good problems to have deciding who to cut from his roster.
No, he did not have many decisions to make. He had some people I had actually never heard of that he's been cutting. His team was really bad. The only other winner, not only other winner, the other big winner was Devin. You getting Kelce for the price you pay, like for going into the draft with not that much. You've been a title favorite since day one. Your team's still loaded. You picked up the best tight end in the league, who's an actual difference maker.
Yeah, don't put that voodoo on me.
Do I look like Tom? Do you see me bumming cigs?
Oh man.
All right, let's move off the draft real quick. I got a couple quick hitters for you guys. Let's start. Yeah, shot in the dark. Who we already talked about. Who the title favorites are. Des, who's winning the league next year?
I think it's Robbie's to lose, to be honest. I mean, he just has too much young, solid, loaded talent all across the board. I mean, I don't know who's going to be able to dethrone him. I mean, Devin has Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. I mean, the sky's the limit there. Ray's team's always going to be in contention, but yeah, no one's going to be looking forward to playing Robbie at any point in the season. So.
That's fair. Dev?
I mean, I have to bet on myself. I mean, if it's not Robbie, someone else has to pop in. But if I didn't choose myself, I think another outside team could be Ray. I mean, He's got Aaron Rodgers, Jonathan Taylor, Javonte, and then his wide receiver core is Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Garrett Wilson. So you get the Wilson and Rodgers stack now on top of Mark Andrews, on top of Deebo Samuel, on top of Geno Smith. If Geno Smith shows up like he did last season, that's a playoff caliber team, and all you need is a couple breaks in the playoffs to land yourself in the championship.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook landing in Miami too would go a long way for him.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think it's you, it's him, it's Robbie. I think those are the three. I think any of the three you could make it. All right, one more quick hitter. We'll call this Big Three. All right, think Mount Rushmore. Think Big Three. Mario Kart, or we'll go Mario Kart characters since we got a big Mario Kart game coming up. We'll do it draft style. We'll go Dev, Des, me. Dev, Des, me. You two. We're just not going to snake.
Okay, so we're just drafting Mario Kart characters?
Uh-huh.
Okay. My 1-1 pick. Am I first?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. We'll snake it, though. You can take whatever pick you want. We'll snake it, though.
I'll go first. My number 1, everyone always thinks that Mario Kart is based on Mario, but little did you know it's actually based on Luigi. Luigi would be my 1-1 pick.
Because?
I mean, you have to take, anyone that knows Mario Kart knows you can't take the big racers because the kart system just isn't right. The small racers, baby Koopa Trooper or whatever, it just doesn't feel right. You got to take the medium-sized standard racers, and Luigi is just right there in it. I just feel something.
All right, so I'm gonna follow this up with what's your go-to. I'm assuming you're a medium bike person then.
No, I don't even know what it's called. I like the sports car that he drives.
Ooh, okay, the speedy one.
Yeah, I'm a speedy sports car guy. No turns though, so Rainbow Road's detrimental to me.
This is and you're doing Mario Kart in the tourney.
Yeah,
I can't turn. He said.
It depends on what Team Spirit's gonna put up there for.
This is fair.
For drivers, because I could switch off, but I know for a fact that Ray is going to be driving in Mario Kart, and that our number 2 guy is sort of up for grabs.
Okay. Yeah, we can have some prelim qualifiers. Des, would you like pick 2 or picks 3 and 4?
Pick 2.
All right, choose your racer. Choose them wisely.
So this actually might not be known to Devin, but to most people, Mario Kart is based off of Mario. So I would take Mario with the 1-2. I mean, he's just everyone wants to be him. He just gets the best breaks. He gets the best mystery cubes. He's just built. Mario is built for Mario Kart.
Well, that can't be statistically correct that Mario gets the best cubes. That can't be a real stat.
No, it's not.
Conspiracy does right here. He does have a great stash. Speaking of great stash, you will see a great stash on one league member come Poconos time. No. Oh yes, and all right, with my third pick, this is a no-brainer. This is who I'll be racing with come Pocono weekend. It's Toad. Got to be Toad. Toad's my dude. Little shroomers on the zoomers. Little zoomers on the shroomers. Toad gets it done. You will see us holding the gold cup with Toad.
So is this confirmed that Jimmy is racing in Mario Kart?
Honestly, no, but probably. It's probable. Toad's the no-brainer. That's my dude. If I'm racing with Toad. Second pick here. Ooh, there's some good options left. I'm gonna go Koopa Troopa. Big Koopa Troopa guy. Koopa Cape is an all-time course with the water tunnels. And
great pick, great map.
Yep, great pick, great map. The stupid lasers that spin that always shrink you, I hate with a passion. But the speed you up water, nice little navigable pathways. It's a great map, and hopefully one we end up racing on come tourney time. Back to you, Des.
Okay, I'm gonna go Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong on the bike is just a menace, a pest, a problem. You do not want to have to go against Diddy Kong on the bike when it's coming down.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Interesting to choose him over Donkey Kong. Is that a speed-based decision?
Yes. I mean, air is a huge factor. Oh, yes.
Yep. Okay. All right, Dev. You get two. Last two.
Oh, man. Yeah, I forgot this was Snake. I know my one. My one is going to be... Actually, no, I have both of them. My number two is going to be... I mean, you just... If you're playing Super Mario, you hit the box and you just see this egg pop out of nowhere. But bam, we're really playing Mario Kart, but it's still the same effect. I'm taking Yoshi. Yoshi every single time. Also a great standard size racer. Got to take Yoshi. And
great shout.
My 3-1 is going to be just a wild card late flyer. It's going to be none other than Princess Peach. That's right. Getting Luigi and Princess Peach on the same team, steal Mario's girl, and that's it.
Oh, Devin,
it's an all-time cuck. Just an all-time cuck, but Devin right there. Throw her on the Dolphin Dasher and just profit.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, that's the cuck of the century. But the Yoshi pick is the best value of the draft. Absolutely, that's a no-brainer pick. And
I love racing with Yoshi.
Yoshi's great. Des, you're up. Last pick.
Yeah, I mean,
you've got Mario. You've got Diddy Kong.
Now my mind's in frenzy because I thought he was going to be an undrafted agent. I was going to be.
This is how Des views the dating pool.
Yes. But I'm going to go with Waluigi.
Waluigi lose.
And no, he's a freak on the streets.
He's definitely a freak in the streets.
Yeah, no, he is. He's actually like a weirdo. Like he just looks weird and all crouched up in that tiny car, but he goes fast. So that's why I'm taking him.
All right, so Des takes Waluigi, leaving me with the no-brainer villain pick here. Give me Bowser, give me some big-ass Kart, and let me just absolutely bump you off the edges. You can't turn on Rainbow Road. You sure as hell can't get near Bowser, else you're getting a nice side hip check off the edge into the great abyss. So final teams here, Dev. What's your trio?
Final team for me is Luigi, Yoshi, and Princess Peach.
Luigi, Yoshi, Princess Peach. Des, you have Diddy Kong, Waluigi, and Mario. I have Toad, Koopa Troopa, and Bowser. So those are three formidable teams. Hopefully we get to see some of us using some of them come next week.
Do we get to? I know we're probably wrapping up. Do we get to segue into a reveal of what our team is going to be doing to determine our first pick for after
Absolutely.
the Olympics?
Most definitely. Hit us with it. We certainly have not talked about it because we are solely focused on winning the Olympics. But if you guys want to plan for the future, go ahead and let us know.
So we're focused on after we win the Olympics, how to determine who's going to be taking that coveted first overall pick. So we have decided, and by we I mean myself and David. We haven't discussed it with any of our other team members. We sort of speak for our team. I don't know if you know that about us, but we will be selecting different Super Mario Smash Brother characters and letting the computer do a simulation to determine who's going to be picking where for us.
Wow.
And this is official. Whether we win or lose, but when we win, this is how we will determine who picks where.
Yeah, that's a great idea, honestly. I do officially have Super Smash Bros. Brawl in front of me. Bought
Love it.
Used from GameStop.
Love it. And we might let Papa just play against the computers just for the content.
No, you gotta let Owen Morse in there. He doesn't have a team. He doesn't have a horse in the race. He has a Morse in the race. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. That would actually be absolutely electric too. So I think that's fun. It's kind of like we've done the 100-yard dash and watched our little horses try to pull ahead of one another. Right. Simulating a giant brawl would be an absolute hoot. Especially if you put it on the movie theater screen.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Which, obviously going on.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this.
The Mario Kart races on the mega screen are going to be preposterous.
Oh yeah.
It'll be awesome. I think that pretty much wraps up where we're at. You guys got any closing words?
Go ahead, Des. Do you have any departing words?
No. See you in the playoffs.
In what? In
Dynasty. I will see both of you in the playoffs in Dynasty.
Yeah, you will see me and Devin in the playoffs.
Yeah, you'll be watching us from.
Okay, whatever.
Man, no, it's been a good time. I hope can't wait to see everybody next week, and hopefully a couple surprises along the way.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be some great Olympic matchups, even though we haven't determined all of them. It should be a great time. Maybe we do an emergency pod before this with just talking about Olympic matchup stuff. Maybe we just kind of wing it. And
give the people something to listen to on the car ride on there.
Absolutely. Yeah. The big thing will be everyone. We gotta plan who's bringing what and get that all lined up, and then we can go and party our asses off. So
there we go.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you all soon.
See you later.